Hello everyone, my name is Kudabear, and welcome back to Med to Max, the series where I try to take my med-level OSRS main and max it before the end of 2025. In the last episode, we ended off with a total of 1807 and around 52 million total experience. We've still got a long way to go, so let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. We'll start off with continuing to train Thieving from last episode and achieving level 81. This is where I'll stop blackjacking and swap over to Pyramid Plunder, as the experience rates there become competitive, and I find Pyramid Plunder to be much more chill. Pyramid Plunder is actually how I've gotten 99 Thieving twice before, once in 2011 on RS2, and once in 2018 on my original OSRS skiller. It's basically like a second home to me, so I'm glad to be back. I'll be staying here all the way to 91 for sure, though I actually wound up getting pretty distracted for the rest of this episode, so this is the last of the thieving done for now. While editing the last video, I stayed at Barbarian Fishing and got all the way up to 70. This is pretty notable as it unlocks the last tier of fish at this location, Leaping Sturgeon. This actually results in a pretty significant XP per hour boost, so that's a nice milestone to have. I plan to stay here until at least 80, where I might consider swapping over to Infernal Eels, but we'll see how things go. Now we move on to the main reason why I didn't get any more thieving done this episode, my clan's skill of the week. If you're not familiar, our clan does occasional skill of the week competitions to see who can gain the most XP in a skill before the end of the week. This week, as you can probably tell from what's on screen, is going to be Woodcutting. I decided to do Soliceps as it's pretty fast XP, and also I still need to collect most of my fossils for the Varrock Museum. The free XP lamps you get from that will be extremely helpful. Now I'm starting at just shy of 72 woodcutting, so let's see how much progress that we can get. If you'd like to know about future Skill of the Week challenges or even join in, the best way is to join the channel Discord, which is linked below in the description. A few days later and we're halfway through the Skill of the Week competition and I got up to just shy of 78 woodcutting, gaining about 750,000 XP so far, ranking 5th in the competition. I was definitely hoping for a bit more progress by this point, but the only option from here is to keep on trucking and hope for a better second half. Of course, while I was woodcutting, I was still keeping up with my herb runs and birdhouse runs, and here's a nice milestone, 80 Hunter. This is notable because it unlocks Herbivore, which I'll probably be doing for the majority of my 99 Hunter training outside of birdhouses. A few more days and it's the end of the woodcutting skill of the week. I managed to get all the way up to 83 woodcutting with a total XP gain of around 1.9 million. I wound up placing 4th because of some very steep competition, most notably Nikolai with the 8.8 mil XP gained to gain 99 in the competition. Huge congrats there and well played. I wound up spending my entire time at Soliceps and I got way more fossils than I ever need to finish the Varrock Museum. This is actually kind of nice because I can use the extra fossils for prayer experience later on. One thing I actually learned through this process was maybe don't use the Serpentine helmet to prevent poison, as I went through nearly 2 million gold in skills over the course of the week. It was very inconvenient to not have to worry about taking along anti-poisons, but I didn't realize just how expensive it would be. The next thing I did was go turn all of my fossils in to claim the experience lamps you get from the Varrock Museum. It turns out I had more of the museum complete than I remembered, so I didn't get quite as much experience as I was hoping. Still though, I got about 100k Runecraft XP as basically purely bonus experience from training woodcutting, so that's pretty cool. Pivoting away from skilling for a bit, I jumped back into Slayer for a break. I actually got my first Gargoyles task and got the Brittle Key drop. I used it to unlock the door at the Grotesque Guardians, but I'm not sure if I'll ever be doing them as part of this series. They're just not very good experience or money, so they don't seem like they'd be that efficient. My next task, however, is far more interesting as I got a Greater Demons task. Tormented Demons actually count as Greater Demons for Slayer, and they're absolutely broken for Slayer training. They give nearly 2 times XP in combat and in Slayer versus normal mobs, and are great money. The only problem is that I don't actually have while Guthix Sleeps completed yet, so that means it's questing time! Thankfully I have all the requirements for while Guthix Sleeps except for one, Defender of Varrock. I knocked that quest out first, but it was pretty short and was really easy, so there's not much to note about it. Then on to the big one itself, while Guthix Sleeps. This quest is actually incredibly nostalgic for me, as I remember it was one of the last quests I did on RS2 before the evolution of combat changed the game forever. The OSRS adaptation is very faithful to what it was like back in the day, so it was just a joyful journey of nostalgia for me. Not only does this quest unlock the Tormented Demons, it also has some very nice experience rewards that make it absolutely worth the time to complete. I wasted no time and ran straight to the Tormented Demons after finishing the quest. I went ahead with magic and melee, using Greater Demon Bane as my offensive spell and an Abyssal Whip as my melee weapon. It wasn't until a few trips in I learned that the Abyssal Dagger is much better and swapped to that, and also started using Thralls too. I decided against buying a Twisted Synapse for these, as it would tie up most of my money and the kill times are already decently fast with just this basic gear I have. And then... oh my god! Yep, only 88 kills in and I was spooned a Twisted Synapse of my own. Worth almost 50 mil, this thing is an insane boost to my bank. Between this and the Zenyte shards in the last episode, I basically doubled my bank from where we started. That cash will be invaluable for maxing my Buyable skills in the coming months. And yeah, I decided to sell it instead of using it for the same reason I said before. It would tie up a lot of cash for a small benefit and a few Slayer tasks. I'll get my own down the road when I have even more cash. After selling the Synapse, I actually put most of that money into my first major Buyable grind, fletching. I still want to get 91 fletching for the Desert Elite Diary, so I went ahead and bought all the Amethyst arrowheads and headless arrows I need to get there. I'll work on these passively whenever I have extra time or when I'm doing something like running agility and can multi-skill. For now though, back to a bit more Slayer. While doing a Dagonoth task, I hit a nice milestone, 90 strength. Then onto a quick farm run and I hit 85 farming. This unlocks the hard tier of the farming guild, but that's not incredibly helpful for me as a main. I'll probably eventually grow some of the patches there, but the only reason I visit the farming guild at the moment is for the herb patch. And with that, it actually brings us to the end of the second episode of Med to Max. I'm realizing making a maxing series interesting for YouTube is going to be a bit of a challenge, as this episode covered 85 hours of gameplay, 42 total levels, and 8 mil total XP gain, but I feel like much to show for it. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed watching and are looking forward to future gains in this account as much as I am. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care.